What is up, everybody? Welcome to ToothAndTailTV, the show where you submit replays and we cast them. I am Delthius. How's it going, guys? Good to see y'all again. Unfortunately, I won't be doing a show on Thursday night. I got to play a gig in my band. We booked a gig on a Thursday, which normally we don't do, but I think sometimes we do it to help out a fellow band or try to get in with a promoter or something. So we're doing that, guys. If I get some good submission volume, though, I might try to make up for it with maybe a Friday night show. We'll see. I don't think I have anything planned for Friday night yet, so maybe I'll do some rank stream, or if I get some replays, we'll do a show on Friday night. So, what's going on, everybody? Good to see y'all. What's up, Chip? Premium Bo Valeris. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Oh, thanks for reminding me, Chip. Mishi submitted through direct message on Discord, which I always forget about. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll add that game on for sure. Actually, we'll probably get into that before we look at the Pocketbot tournaments. So give me 1 second. Thank you for reminding me. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, we got the last game I played there, but we'll go into Mishi vs. Chip before we do the Pocketbot stuff. So, all right, guys, I think everything is good. Not a whole lot to announce, man. Best Sakura NA's Tooth and Tail League is still ongoing, so definitely check out his channel for some high-level Tooth and Tail action. And I think we're just gonna hop into it here with match number 1. Okay, spawning on the left, it is Hawkman Birdman. And his opponent to the right, Misclicker. Okay, so looking at these decks, Misclicker running Squirrel Toad. I think Lizards have been pretty dominant on the ladder lately. I haven't actually got a chance to play too much in the last week or so. I'm actually hoping I can get a chance to play a little bit tomorrow night, but I have played a couple games, man, and people seem to be really enjoying the Lizards, so Toads kind of makes sense. Falcon Chameleon is interesting. I mean, Falcons are obviously a great tier 2 to push with if you're looking for just, straight damage more than utility. I guess Chameleons make more sense against Lizards, right? If you're trying to craft a deck to kind of do well against Lizards, maybe you tech in the Chameleons versus instead of the Skunk. Where Skunk does really good against Squirrel, but doesn't quite do so great against Lizards since Lizards move around so much. But let's see. Misclicker actually going for an interesting opening here, man. He waited till Hawkman Birdman scouted him out, and then he went for a 5-farm triple Warren here instead of a double. The reason is just because he had a little bit extra money because he waited to fake out his opponent, right? So, just as we saw from Hawkman Birdman's vision there, he still thinks Misclicker is going for an 8-farm opening, and he's going to get the scout out soon, but it might be a little too late. Misclicker is going to be in this position where he has, 4 to 5 tier 1 advantage, maybe closer to like 3 or 4 when he actually gets to the base. And Lizards are a fantastic aggression unit, mobility unit, but they're actually not that great defending. And this area that Misclicker is approaching on doesn't have those defensive Warrens. The Warrens are in the back. Nice turret placement there from Hawkman, but it might be a little too late. Comes in to defend with his Lizards. And good hold. Actually, it looks like he's gonna clean this up just fine. Misclicker's gonna have to back out. Wait, did Misclicker's commander die? Oh, no. Yeah, no, it did. Oh, that makes sense. How did I miss that? Yeah, I think Misclicker could have done better there if his commander didn't die for sure. Mainly on the losses in the back, like he could have conceded earlier on, like, okay, this isn't gonna work. Hawkman, I think, built double Lizard Warren on 7-farm, if I'm correct, so maybe he didn't quite go for the 8-farm opening, but it's still a pretty decent rush distance here, so he was able to have enough out anyways by the time he got there. Hey, thanks for the raid, Misclicker, man. I don't know why my alert's not going off. I need to look into that. I always say that and I never do. But Hawkman gonna try to come in with a counterattack. I like that, but he ended up just kind of backing out, as he saw his opponent has Toads. And now it's gonna be a real big pain for Hawkman here, because he's just running Lizards. Back in the day, we had this meta going on kind of around launch, where, you know, you kind of go either squirrel toad, squirrel lizard, or lizard toad, right? To kind of avoid the situation that Hawkman's in now. And as the game has kind of progressed, you know, toads kind of went in and out of popularity, and people got a bit more greedy and kind of went for their second tier one as a pigeon, if anything at all, right? To fit in other units. So Hawkman just has the lizards here, and maybe he's, you know, just kind of didn't intend on the toads. I'm not so sure how popular the toads are on the meta the last week or two, but it's a great pickup. I've actually been considering putting the toads into my deck to deal with lizard. I feel like lizard's pretty popular right now, and toads actually, with their increased damage to their main target, you know, don't do too bad to tier 2. I think Shadow had said on the Pedro's Time Zone Showdown that they trade evenly with chameleons, so if that's the case, they'll certainly do well against skunks and snakes and ferrets, you know. But Hawkman's got a good position here, man. That Artie Cannon is not going to let Mistlicker come in. But I'm a bit worried for Hawkman that this might have been a little bit too far back, right? Like, if these defenses were right on the edge of this campfire's territory, they would do a better job defending Hawkman's expansion here. You know, Mistlicker can certainly kind of try to sneak up into this area in between these trees up here and kind of harass from that vantage point. But this balloon's going to come up, and that's going to help, you know, give him a higher range. But he's not going to wait much longer, man. Goes in, gets a fantastic toad engagement on those lizards. Those lizards actually absolutely getting deleted. Gonna come in here and have enough squirrels left over to deal with that balloon, no problem. Gonna have to back up and regroup for now. He lost his chameleons there, but overall, I think that was a good fight for Mistlicker. Yeah, I think that went fairly well, and Hawkman's got to be a little bit afraid right now. So let's see. Now, Misk does have his own second base. Neither player has felt comfortable enough yet saturating that up yet, so Hawkman's got a bit of a lead on economy through that campfire. But here you see Mistlicker kind of sneaking around the side like I was talking about, trying to avoid that Artie Cannon. He's going to get this Gristmill, no problem. My question is he going to commit to the fighter, or is he just going to back up? I think he can back up, and those toads absolutely cannot chase here. Mistlicker's going to back up and get into this little corridor. Yeah, that would have been totally devastating on those lizards, man. If you can clump those lizards up, or any unit gets clumped up, you know, kind of trying to move around before it finds its own tile to attack on, you know, toads can do very critical damage. And Miska looks like he sold off maybe a couple squirrels, perhaps. I didn't quite see what he did sell there, but he sold off something to afford a couple farms on this second base to try to reinforce the lead. And the Artie Cannon up front is being placed now. I'd love to see Hawkman sell this back Artie Cannon afterwards and use that money elsewhere, because economies are getting pretty tight now. You know, Mistlicker's stabilizing. The number lies to you a little bit because it's counting the farm before it's done, right? Like, that farm just now finished. So now he's on 5 farms. The 6th farm will be there shortly after, but Hawkman's economy is definitely running out. Losing that Gristmill really, really hurt him, man, with that follow-up push from Mistlicker. So, yeah, I love this play out of Licker here, right? Like, just getting more ahead. You know, he's going to move out now and poke and prod, but if he doesn't like this position, he can simply move back. Like, he's got the lead. I feel like, if anything, he should be even more greedy on that second base, because now he kind of runs a risk, if he doesn't take a hard engagement, of Hawkman selling off a couple Warrens, you know, and saturating up really quickly himself, you know. And this is where it gets kind of interesting in the Tooth and Tail mid to late game, is you really got to keep an eye on how many farms your opponent is taking. And the good rule of thumb is to try to always just be slightly more greedy than them, right? Like, if you scout they have 3 farms, go up to 4 farms, man. So yeah, we're at a bit of a standstill. Both players just kind of... This is this awkward point that happens sometimes in the mid-game where there's not really a reason for either player to make an engagement, right? Like, Mistlicker has the better army here, but this defensive position might be enough for Hawkman to deflect an attack, and Mistlicker could lose his own whole army, so why take the risk? And on the other side of the coin, Hawkman doesn't want to move out because he knows he's taken some poor engagements, and Mistlicker most likely has a better army than him, so why take the risk, right? So now both players are going to kind of sit back a little bit and stabilize, and this is what I was worried about, man. Mistlicker has a lot of money, though, so he's going to come back, yeah, saturate up that second base, because Hawkman just did that himself. Which I think is absolutely the right play in this position. Again, you need to be cognitive of what your opponent's doing. But if you've invested into stuff like artillery cannon, you know, that's a lot of money. The best play, in my opinion, is use that time that RD Cannon's buying you to really skyrocket up your economy. So let's see it, man. A third base is going to be pretty difficult for Hawkman on this map. It's not the easiest thing in the world for Mistlicker either, but it might be a little favor towards him. Denies that balloon from going up, and no refund there for Hawkman, so 120 food down. Both players backing out. Liquor losing a bit of tier 1 there, but no really critical units dying in that little skirmish. So Hawkman gets his campfire, which is nice though, and it's going to give him a little more territory. With so much defense in his deck, you know, that could be very, very crucial, man. I'd love to see him keep leapfrogging defensive structures, you know, up and up, but the army of Mistlicker is just so much better at this point, and Licker's got a Fox that he's adding right now. Should be out on the map within a minute or so. Yeah, 40 seconds for the tier 3 to build and the unit to build, if I am correct. If I'm wrong, correct me in the chat, please. I don't want to tell people incorrect information, but if that's the case, yeah, it will be about a minute for the Fox to come out here, so. Trying to move out a little bit with these snakes. I like this play, but needs to be careful. You can kind of move your snakes forward, especially if you got pigeons to heal, to try to you know, micro, get some free kills. But Mistlicker kind of identifying that the snakes are out of position there, moves forward and tears through the outer layer of defense here for Hawkman, but backs out, man. That artillery cannon is a big deal for Hawkman, and Liquor is really just gonna have to wait around until he gets a lot of Falcons. I feel like he should go up to, you know, 8, maybe even 10 Falcons to try to engage that arty cannon. But maybe he's just got enough at this point, which could certainly be the case. Let's see. Yeah, he goes in, target fires down that artillery cannon, no problem, and very good engagement here for Mistlicker. But the Lizards of Hawkman on the back are gonna clean up everything that Mistlicker owns. Now Mistlicker really needs to come back and sell off some warrants here to keep that production going. Let's see what he decides to sell off. Sells off the tier 3. I agree with it, man. It always feels bad, especially as a Fox player myself, when it's almost done. But I think that was the right move here. Now he's got the extra income to help finance, you know, this more basic army. That's really what he needs right here, right now, to deal with these lizards. And Fox isn't that great against lizards and things like snakes to begin with anyways, so he's gonna hold on. And, you know, both players are basically on an even economy at this point, right? Like, the campfire gives Hawkman a bit of an advantage here, but I feel like Liquor has taken the better end of most of these engagements. These toads are just getting a ton of value for him on top of these lizards. And now there's not a lot left here for Hawkman. It's all re-rallying up, though. Again, he's got an 8-farm economy, 9 farms if you count the campfire, so there is quite a bit to, you know, reproduce this army quickly. But Licker's got enough right here, right now on the front line. Sniping this turret's a big deal. That turret, if unattended, you know, is gonna just do a ton of damage, you know, over time in a prolonged engagement. So Licker's probably got enough momentum at this point. He's actually, you know, breached the lines here of Hawkman, and he's in here actually getting economic damage done, which is huge. And this Falcon stays alive for Liquor, man. I'd love to see him baby it a little bit. It's at 2 HP. Oh, keep that Falcon alive. Oh, barely goes down. I think actually just some pig fire there. So Hawkman's eventually gonna hold, but his economy took a pretty big hit there. But really, I mean, Mistlicker's economy is not so much better. You know, his second base is mining out, but Hawkman's in a rough spot where it's like he doesn't even. That kind of, yeah, actually, you know, that really hurts for Hawkman for an interesting reason, because it's not really worth it to reinvest in these farms, you know. So Hawkman's kind of stuck with the economy that he has, and it could be an easy trap to fall into that and say, oh, I'm gonna rebuild a farm here, right? But most of that's mined out already, and Mistlicker is able to re-rally faster here. I think he went down on his Falcon count a little bit. I love seeing guys sell stuff off, man, to get out what you can right here, right now, you know, to keep that tempo going. Hawkman's gonna try and throw down some defensive structures to stay in it, but Licker's already taken out the second base, the money base at this point. That's gonna be it. Hawkman taps out, Licker takes the game. All right. Everybody doing good? It's good to see everybody. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, man, unfortunately I can't do a show on Thursday night. I gotta play a gig in my bands. But maybe we'll do a Friday night show to make up for it. Convince me, man. If I get a, shoot me some replays, man. If I get a good amount of submissions in, I'll do a Friday night show, and we'll do replays there instead of Thursday. So let's see it, guys. Let's hop into game number 2 here. Keep the show moving. Okay, spotting to the left, we've got Vincent. And his opponent to the bottom right, Bratmo. Alright, both players trying to make the wolf work here. I think the wolf is not a super high rated tier 3 at the moment. I could be wrong about that, but I think there could be, you know, other viable options in that slot. But it's weird, man. Like, if you get a bunch of buffed up Falcons, like, they just dominate stuff. So I don't think the wolf is a terrible choice. I think it can still figure out a way to be in the meta. But other than that, both players actually going Ferret, which is pretty interesting. I personally run Ferret, and to some good extent, success. It requires some good micro. It prevents, you know, contained strategies from your opponent fairly well, and it gives you a nice pokeable offensive attack, because it's kind of interesting when you're being sieged by units like ferrets or foxes or balloons, where it's kind of like you gotta pull the trigger, right? Like, the longer you wait, 9 times out of 10, the more, you know, that damage is gonna add up. Like a squirrel here, a squirrel there, from that ferret shelling. So I feel like unless you can just escape and like run around and do an attack elsewhere, I feel like one of the best moves you can make is just to try to all in right there. Let me see. I heard this. Maybe I'm going crazy. Anyway, I thought I was hearing Discord noises, but it didn't seem like I have any notifications. But anyways, guys, both players going for an 8 farm opening here into 2 tier 1, which is pretty standard. This hasn't really defined any builds yet, you know, other than we're not going to go for aggression in the early game. And I'm interested to see how these players progress from here. You can see some tier 3 rushes, tier 2 transition, lots and lots of tier 1, maybe a fast expand. Bratmo grabbing this pocket campfire, man, that's very good for him. But Vincent's got a pretty reasonable campfire himself, and I had a good timing, man. I feel like after you've built your first 2 tier 1 Warrens, it's a great time to take a campfire. Oh yeah, Vincent took this other one he's got over on the back as well. So Vincent deciding to go for a tier 3 rush here with the wolf. I'm interested to see if he's going to follow this up with a chameleon push, or perhaps just use this to boost his income. So the build's kind of defined here for Vincent, and Bratmo, on the other hand, is deciding to take a hidden expansion over to the side. And let's see, Vincent trying to get a scout in on his opponent there. I don't think he saw too much. Yeah, he saw 3 tier 1 Warrens, which isn't out of the question. Yeah, tier 2 coming out for Bratmo. Not a super fast tier 2. I feel like you can take the tier 2 if you're going for like a timing attack after the first 2 tier 1 Warrens. But he opted for 3 tier 1 Warrens and an expansion before moving on to the ferret. So just kind of more of like a well-rounded, you know, ferret timing here. And Vincent is really trying to claim some territory, throw down a balloon, to try to dissuade his opponent from attacking until that wolf gets out. You know, Vincent's really just trying to buy time. You know, he's gone for the tier 3, and Bratmo has not scouted it, which is a big deal. If you scout it, you can kind of adjust accordingly, you know, and try to get in there and punish your opponent. But if you don't know it's coming, it can be very difficult. Bratmo does throw down his own tier 3, but delayed compared to Vincent. So Vincent will have his wolf out first. Now, these are wolves that are coming out, so I think Boar is a really powerful tier 3 right now, if I recall correctly. I still feel like Fox isn't bad. I don't know if Badger is totally tapped out because that commander nerf. But, you know, compared to other things, the wolf might not be the most impactful tier 3 rush, right? Like, if it's a Fox, it's going to get out there and start poking and prodding immediately. You know, maybe, I mean, we'll see. It's kind of incorrect to say the wolf's buff is not impactful in a big engagement, because, you know, your units are all, you know, steroided up and can definitely get some great value. Trying to move around with these chameleons, just poking and prodding, maybe trying to catch a ferret off guard. But backs out, no harm, no foul. Now the wolf is here, so I'm really curious. Yeah, see, I feel like Vincent might just boost his economy with this wolf for maybe a moment or so, and get out some chameleons, because the chameleons with the wolf buff are absolutely insane. He's got 2, he's got a couple more on the way. And ferrets with the chameleon buff are great as well. But Bratmo, man, you know, Vincent has a timing window right now. This is a really interesting game, actually, because, you know, Bratmo just went so hard on the second base, and Vincent has no idea, right? So Bratmo still doesn't know about the tier 3 rush from Vincent, but Vincent isn't really using that in like a timing attack manner, as I was talking about with the with like a Fox or something like that. Now he sees this expansion. I love this play, man. Rallies the Chameleons over, do some damage, goes ahead and burrows back his commander, so when these Chameleons start getting in hot water here, he can stealth them out. Looks like he lost one there. But the other two are going to make it out alive okay. But yeah, I mean, Bratmo's Wolf is here now, so Bratmo's in a much better position, and great response from Vincent after seeing his opponent had really saturated up his second base. Vincent went in and saturated up his own. So we might end up in a relatively similar spot, but keep in mind, Bratmo's had a much better economy for longer. The big engagement's going to come in here, and these Chameleons are doing incredible work. Actually get the Wolf of Bratmo. That is huge, man. Like, that is almost just kind of tap out at this point, like if you do a tier 3 rush and you lose that tier 3, it can be really, really brutal. But I don't know, maybe he did enough counter damage, but man, Vincent just seemed to really dominate that push. And let's see, those Chameleons being buffed up was huge. Falcon's coming out for Bratmo though, and that could be really big with the Wolf buff, but the Wolf still hasn't been financed yet from Bratmo. So, yeah, it sells it off. I like this play. Floating a bit of money, but maybe he's just going to try to boom up into a third base. Now rebuilds the Wolf over here. So that's a pretty vulnerable spot for that Warren, man. If Vincent kind of... Because this is going to be the front lines, right? So if Vincent starts getting the momentum here and breaks through this position, that Wolf Warren is absolutely going to go down. But I think it was more of like a timing play there from Bratmo, where he's like, I need to drop this Warren, right now, right? That's why he put it there. So Vincent takes third base himself up to the top, and we're getting into a little bit of a standstill here. Bratmo again with the better economy, but Vincent really won the hell out of that big engagement. So look at all these tier 2 hordes, man. This is insane. Vincent sold off all his tier 1, and he's going into 10 Ferret, 10 Chameleon. That is crazy. Oh my god, this actually might just murder his opponent, but he's got nothing to shoot up. Those Falcons are eventually gonna dominate this. I'd love to see Vincent throw in some tier 1 now. Oh man, yeah, sells these. Oh, that was beautiful. Well done by Vincent there. Sells off all those building farms before that Gristmill goes down. Just calmly deals with it, doesn't panic. Realize, okay, the Gristmill is gonna go down for sure. Let me get my money back on these farms at least. And just gonna rebuild immediately and try to repopulate that with some farms after the fact. But Bratmo here is already basically mining the hell out of that third base, and Vincent's got the better army at this point, man. He really needs to utilize it. He can't sit around, or Bratmo will eventually just finance a better army on this superior economy. But again, I'm worried about these Falcons. 4 Falcons isn't going to be enough to stop this onslaught, though. 10 Ferrets, dude. I'm so excited to watch this. Here we go. The Chameleons come up on the front lines. The Wolf is buffing what it can. A lot of those Chameleons actually with the buff right now. A few of those Pigeons as well. But just the rain down from Vincent, man. Just blotting out the sky here with cannonballs on these Ferrets. This is crazy, man. I love it. Like, I've always been a big fan of the Ferret unit, but eventually, man, slow and steady, these Falcons are starting to mow down all this army. Like, look at this for Vincent, man. Only 3 Ferrets left. Those are not going to be long for this world, but Vincent just did such critical damage. That's why I was pondering where I was like, well, he doesn't have anti-air, but only 4 Falcons, right? Like, yeah, it's going to eventually murder stuff, but it's going to take a while. And that was all the time he needed. And Vincent did lose a Wolf, but a couple of those Wolf buffs are still remaining here on these Chameleons, just kind of timing out now. And he's going to go for the throat here, man. Just wants to take out the last remaining Gristmills of his opponent. Just gonna run through these. Oh, he's only got 1 Chameleon left though. He doesn't really have anything left. He's bleeding off these Pigeons with the re-rally. That's exactly what Bratmo needs, and Bratmo, can take a Gristmill here. He needs to build one though. He's gonna starve out shortly. Yeah, now he can no longer rebuild. I mean, man, if Bratmo, okay, when all that cleared up, he had like 30 seconds left. Gristmill takes 20 seconds to build, so he had enough time to take like this base And, I mean, yeah, Vincent just wrecked him, but Bravo did kill off a lot of Vincent's expensive units. He might have had enough money to finance another gristmill, but tries to go for the counterattack there and just kind of starves out. What a great game, man. Man, that was solid. Thanks for the submission. I believe that's Vincent submitted. Vincent's been submitting pretty often, man, so I really appreciate it, man. I encourage you guys to submit. I know we have a lot of new players in the scene, so maybe if you're tuning in for the first time, I do this replay casting show twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. EST. And it's just totally based on community submissions, man, so I need your help to do the show, guys, so email replays at ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com of your matches. Any level of play is fine, man. I promise you, if you're a new player, I won't pick on you. But yeah, so, alright guys, let's keep it going. Game number 3 here. Okay. Spawning to the left, we've got Ultra Fresh. And his opponent to the top right, Vladlad. Alright, both players opted for the Fox here. Vladlad kind of on his own little island. This is interesting. Like, it's, this high ground is abusable from Ultra Fresh's perspective, and Ultra Fresh does have moles to reinforce maybe a big squirrel mole push and try to, utilize that one tile he has here. But look at this, man, Ultra Fresh taking that gristmill. I believe Vladlad sees that, yeah. Now, Ultra Fresh has turrets and artillery cannons, but with this gristmill, he doesn't really have any room to go for the contain. But I guess that's kind of strategy number 1 here for Ultra Fresh, is to go in there and try to create a contain, and then if that fails, maybe go into a regular game. But what? Oh my God, the 5-farm Fox! I don't know who you are, Ultra Fresh, but I love you already. Oh man, Premium Bo talked me into doing like a 4-farm Fox build. when I used to stream playing ladder pretty frequently, and it actually worked, man. Like, I went 4-farm Fox Rush and beat a couple decent players with it, but no, it totally doesn't work, man. If it gets scouted, your opponent can roll over you immediately. But so far, Vladlad hasn't seen it. Oh man, I'm so hyped for this. Now, Vladlad, if he comes in here, he doesn't necessarily even have to get his commander entirely in to identify this build. He can just come in and he can see, okay, my opponent's missing farms. My opponent went for a lot of turrets early on, so either A, he's bad, right? And he just doesn't really know how to play yet, or B, he's going for something sneaky. And Ultra Fresh is indeed being Ultra Fresh here, going for this Fox. And there it goes, it gets financed. And he definitely had the spawn to do this. Like, this is actually pretty decent turret placement here. I'm not so sure if the turrets are maybe just having... no, the turrets are definitely the most ideal defense here. If I want to be a little critical, I could say when the Fox Warren finished up, he could have sold those turrets off, got the Fox building, then remade them. But then you can kind of get, punished for that if your opponent just happens to attack in, like, right as you're selling them off. So the 5-farm Fox, man, coming out for Ultra Fresh, and it looks like it's going to be successful. I'm sorry, Vladlad did see it when he did come in there and scout it, so he knows what he's up against. Tries to get his own Fox out in response, but he doesn't have any defensive structures, which really counter Fox pretty hard. But he does have mines, and if the Fox runs over a couple of these mines, it's definitely going to be a big deal. I don't think 2 mines kills a Fox anymore. I guess we're about to find out. If I recall correctly, with the most recent mine changes, 2 mines no longer kill a Fox. I could be wrong. But 2 mines would certainly cripple a Fox. And this high ground's going to be difficult for Ultra Fresh to come in here and harass it. Needs to be really careful with this Fox. Oh, but the Fox is hurt. That mine goes off. It did 6 damage. Is that correct? Yeah, certainly not enough to kill a Fox. And 2 of them. Yeah, Ultra Fresh trying to come in here and contain, but the problem here is that he doesn't really have any supporting units for this Fox. No squirrels, no pigeons. And Vladlad, oh no, the Fox actually going down here for Ultra Fresh. Vladlad, that's basically game over here for Ultra Fresh in a lot of circumstances. But, You know what? He's got a double high ground here. Vladlad doesn't have ferrets to just easily run over these turrets, and he's been floating a little bit of money here, which is okay. But you know, that was it allowed him to refinance that fox rather quickly, and now he's trying to go up to another base, but again, just no units besides the fox at all, man, and a lot of turrets here. Meanwhile, Vladlad is more of a well-rounded army, getting to his second base around the 4-minute mark, and I feel like he's gonna be in good shape when his fox gets out, but this fox isn't really gonna, like, I feel like this base from Ultra Fresh with all these turrets up here on this high ground is pretty impenetrable, right? Like, this fox is not gonna get any value unless Ultra Fresh kind of tries to move out on the map. Oh no, and losing his commander here. That is not good. That fox is hurt, so another fox shot takes it out. Ultra Fresh knocks out the fox of his opponent. That's exactly what he needed to stay into this game. A couple mines are gonna go off, drop it down to 1 HP. Oh, well, there we go, man. At least Ultra Fresh did a move for science there a little bit. So 3 mines will take out a fox. 2 mines now only hurt the fox down to 1 HP. This is an absolutely silly game. What, 3 foxes have died? That's crazy. We're at the 5-minute mark now, and both players going up to their second bases. Again, Ultra Fresh just relying on these turrets, and this is a beautiful map for him to try to do this, man. This wouldn't work in a lot of situations because, you know, Vladlad's army could simply move around, you know, this way and go around all that defense, but he doesn't have that option because all the terrain. So Ultra Fresh is packed in here nice and tight behind these turrets, and he's going to try to finance 2 foxes. And 2 foxes can be pretty powerful in a couple of ways. Number one, if both of them get their shot off on an opponent's fox, it's going to kill it from full HP, right? That's pretty good. And number 2, as long as they don't target the same thing when there's a lot of squirrels and pigeons around, you know, they can find different targets if they're a little bit spread out, or if units kind of get close to them simultaneously that are 2 separate units. So they can get in there and harass multiple targets, but Ultra Fresh going up to full second base. Oh, the mines! Vladlad. Fox kill number 3 here for Vladlad. If you hate foxes, man, this is definitely your game. Like, so many foxes have died, but just getting nothing done. Like, the mines for Vladlad are denying Ultra Fresh, and all these turrets in the high ground are kind of denying Vladlad. Nice shot off on that Foxo, but he's got the pigeons to try to heal that back up. But these falcons and squirrels on the bottom have actually taken out a couple of those turrets there, just trying to hug that right side and focus those down. Ultra Fresh's fox going back up to full HP. Now, he did keep that second fox warren, so fox number 2 is on the way for Ultra Fresh here. Is it 4? I think it's 4 foxes that have died, right? Ultra Fresh has lost 3, and Vladlad has lost 1. Is that correct? I think we might be setting a record for most fox deaths in one replay here, without that being the you know, strict intent of the replay, I suppose. Ooh, nice shot there for Vladlad. A nice counterattack there from Ultra Fresh. And now these turrets are going to get down on the low ground. It's going to make it a lot harder for Vladlad to poke and prod. The reason Vladlad was able to do that previous attack somewhat successfully is that these turrets are a bit spread out on this high ground, right? Like, he took an engagement where he's only dealing with these 3 turrets there over on the side, only to deal with 2, knocked out 2 of them. But look at this just ring of turrets here for Ultra Fresh with an arty cannon right in the middle where it deserves to be, because certainly the artillery cannon is the king in this situation. Those are all its pawns around it, right? And Vladlad gonna have the nice distance here to poke with these falcons, but that's gonna be, oh my god, so much value coming out of these 2 foxes. Poke down 5 falcons there. Needs to be careful, takes a couple mine hits, loses a fox. Fox number 5, I believe. Dead for this game. Oh, the arty cannons kill a fox from Vladlad. So that's 6 fox deaths, you guys. That's 6 fox deaths at this point. I have never seen that many. I've been casting this game since September. I've casted like 100 hours at this point, and I don't think I've ever seen 6 fox deaths. This is insane. Like, these positions are just so bad for a fox, right? Like, all these mines, all these defensive structures, the counter fox, you know. Fox versus fox is a hard matchup, man. Just a little bit of a misstep, and you lose a fox. I actually win a lot of my fox versus fox matchups on the back of the opponent's commander dying. You know, if you're in fox versus fox, man, or any tier 3 war, or really any engagement, and their commander dies, right? You could just target fire down those valuable units. So, man, look at this. Vladlad just creeping forward more and more here. Another arty cannon going down, or I'm sorry, ultra fresh with the creep. Vladlad's just got mines here, so he can't set up this ultra turret setup, but I gotta give it to ultra fresh, man. Vladlad is no slouch, and he's been able to go toe-to-toe with him this entire game. We're 9 minutes in, and I don't think he built a single squirrel, right? Not a squirrel, not a mole, man. I think you should just cut those units from this build. Like, this build doesn't need them. He's got Pigeon Fox turret arty, man. Maybe throw in some ferrets to be annoying, right? Like, ferrets are ideal with contains, because then you can just kind of run in with your ferrets, poke and prod, and then, you know, if they get in hot water, you just pull them back to the defensive line, and your opponent can't hard engage, right? Okay, what was it? 6 fox deaths? Alright, make it 7. I think we're up to 7. I hope somebody's been keeping better track than I have. I think it's 7, guys. I think we're about to see number 8 here. Oh, 1 HP. Just that was a good move from Ultra Fresh. Just turning around. He kind of got box dead. He's like, I might as well take a Falcon with me. So 8 foxes going down total this game. Dude, this replay is amazing. Thank you for the submission. 8 fox deaths, you guys. That's crazy. All right. Vladlad trying to poke in. He's actually found an angle here to get some of these fantastic shots off on these pigs, but oh, needs to be careful. Almost fox number 9, but he's got some pigeons to heal it up on the retreat. Yeah, I guess if you're Vladlad, you just kind of gotta get a whole bunch of falcons and squirrels, right? Like, he's taken, okay, he's got this 4th base he can take down south. If he can prevent Ultra Fresh from extending his tentacles, you know, over to this base, I would love to see like a high ground mine right up here, just to kind of keep tabs on that base. And right when Ultra Fresh tries to make the play to get over there, you know, shut it down before he can really get set up. Because Ultra Fresh doesn't have an army, man. I guess his late game plan here is to really get some value with these foxes, but man, these mines have just been decimating these foxes this game. 9 fox deaths so far. A few of them on Vladlad. Oh! 1 HP. Tried to get the follow-up strike, but couldn't quite get it. Fox backs out for now. Oh, there we go. Fox number 10. Down for Ultra Fresh. How are they building this many foxes? Like, I am so confused. 10 foxes, you guys. If I lose a single fox, most of the time I'm just like, nope, I can't refinance that. 11 foxes down this game. Ultra Fresh just doesn't care, man. Like, he's not even phased. He's like, whatever, dude. I'll just get more foxes. No big deal. You only have so many mines. All right, gonna try again. Gets a good shot off that time. Being a little safer. Moving up a little bit. Oh, with the fox hit, comes down. What was it? It's 11 now, right? I think we're on 11 foxes. Ooh, good shot there, but Vladlad's fox was at full HP, so it didn't quite die. Man, the arty cannon just doing a great job zoning that fox out from Vladlad, but Vladlad takes his 4th base. It's going to give him a very significant economic boost. Ultra Fresh really needs to get his own 4th base up at this point. We're at almost 13 minutes into this game, guys. I might just fast forward a little bit. Oh, might have some action here. Fox hit going down, but not enough. Oh, fox dies. 12 foxes have died this game. Ooh, nice shot, but not enough. He's not getting that follow-up. Like, Vladlad's getting that follow-up damage with the mines or with the squirrel poke, you know? It just takes one squirrel shot and a fox shot to kill another fox. Oh. So is that 12 now? 12. I think that's 12 foxes, you guys. Where did I draw the line? Wasn't it like 4 or 5? Where I was like, I've never seen that many foxes die in a single game. Now we're at 12. 13. Okay, chat's saying 13. I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it for sure. Okay, we're almost at the 14-minute mark here. Ultra Fresh Gonna try to come up here to harass this base with his fox, but that base is gone. These mines are gonna take this fox down to really low HP. If Vladlad catches this fox, man, it's gonna die for sure. 2 HP, but he's got to run through water, man. Those falcons are absolutely gonna catch up to it. 14 foxes down this game. How are these guys financing 14 foxes? That just blows my mind. Do a little bit of fast forward. We're at 14 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, so very, very late game for a match of Tooth and Tail. You know, Tooth and Tail is typically like 7 to 12 minutes, you know, for the most part. We're on 14? Yeah, 14 foxes. Yeah, I guess really no other units have died this game, right, for the most part. That is a good point. And 4 base economies. Now, Ultra Fresh did get this 4th base. So that is a big deal, but he hasn't saturated it yet. Ooh, the double Foxo for Vladlad, killing Fox number 15 there. Ultra Fresh really needs to get some pigs up on this base, but the problem is Vladlad can easily harass that. Vladlad controls this high ground territory, can easily move his foxes over here to harass this base. And he's actually just going to use the falcons. I'm not so sure if Ultra Fresh has high ground that far away. Now he certainly does. This fox is going to get some good value taking out a couple of falcons, but that base goes down. That's really what's more important at this point. A lot of falcons dying here, though. 5 go down there for Vladlad. 6, I believe. Oh, no, he's actually hitting pigs. So 6 falcons, 2 pigs die from the counter here from Ultra Fresh, but the fox is coming up. We're on 15, right? 15 fox deaths. This is insane. This is absolutely insane, you guys. Okay, that was 16, right? Yeah, fox number 16 just died, I believe. And I think Vladlad's in good shape. Ultra Fresh did get some decent harassment there, but those mines just took it out. So, the real story here is this base from Vladlad, though. And actually, as I say that, 4 of those farms mine out. Those other 2 got taken out at, you know, about half saturation. So, Vladlad trying to take this base over to the bottom, but he just might have amassed a big enough army in the form of falcons and pigeons at this point. 16 foxes have died this game, you guys. 16! That's a lot. That's insane. 1 fox death is insane. 16. That's crazy. I'm shell-shocked. I don't even know what to say at this point. We're 17 minutes in. Vladlad trying to set up shop here for a 5th base on the base that should be Ultra Fresh's 4th. But the Falcons, he's just trying to pull the trigger, hoping he's got enough, but that is a lot of turrets just mowing down some of the army there for Vladlad. But you know what? A lot of those Falcons stayed alive, or perhaps they just started really building so fast that another Fox goes down, Fox number 17. I believe a Fox just died there from Vladlad. It went from 3 out of, so that's 18 Foxes. 19 Foxes! Did Ultra Fresh lose another one? Because he's building both of them, so I think 20. I think we're 20 Foxes deep, ladies and gentlemen. 20 Fox deaths. That's crazy. We're at 18 minutes almost. Yeah, for any new viewers, I do hide the replay timer because it spoils when the game's about to end. So I do try to chime in on the time of the game from time to time. But we're at 18 minutes right now, guys. Absolutely super, super late game. Vladlad feels like he's got enough. I think it was 20 I said, right? So would that be 21? It stays alive for now. Red Dino saying he called at least 20. Dude, we got to 20, you guys. I feel like I should get an achievement for casting this game. Like, cast a game with 20 Fox deaths. That's absolutely outrageous. And Vladlad's crippled his opponent at this point. Ultra Fresh is hanging on for now, but he's simply got nothing. What a crazy game, you guys. I love it, man. What a fantastic submission. You know, I love seeing stuff like this on TnTTV, man. I love seeing, like, you know, super try-hard competitive play. Absolutely, you know, but man, stuff like this where it's like, well, 20 foxes died this game to like a ton of mines and arty cannons and other foxes and falcons and whatnot. 21 at this point. Man, send me stuff like this all day long. 22 fox deaths. Ultra Fresh is gonna tap out, and Vlad is gonna take the game on the back of 22 dead foxes. That is crazy. 1 fox death per minute. Dude, it was better than that. It was better than 1 fox death per minute because it was only like a 19-minute game. That is insane. What a crazy match. Alright, guys. Let's hop into game number 4 here. We got a 2v2 submission. Okay, spawning in the bottom, we've got Hikumo and Kepler42G. And up in the top, we got Premium Bow and Alexius Caro. Okay, don't see any moles in Premium Bow's deck. He does have the Owl Boar Arty Cannon. Makes sense to me. And nothing super crazy here. Kepler's got a lot of defense. Really a lot of defense here for both players. Or both teams, rather. Both teams have access to arty cannons and turrets, while red and yellow kind of have that full suite of arty cannon, turret, and balloon. And interesting, I really like blue and green's kind of synergy here. You know, they don't really have any, besides the pigeon, I suppose, any overlap units, pigeon arty. So, you know, wolf, owl, boar, snake, ferret, pigeon, squirrel will be available for their team. So that sounds pretty good. And Hikumo and Kepler, man, Kepler went really hard on the defense. He actually went for the mines as well. Surprisingly, not an aggressive early game, but as I say that, no, Premium Bow went for a 4-farm double, 5-farm rather. And let's see if he decides to move out. Maybe that's just kind of a safe standard opening in 2v2, but it's Premium Bow, man, so he's going to get on the map and he's going to get some aggression going. Alexius, I should say, doesn't really have anything to back him up, but he actually went for a fast second base. Insanely fast, at like the 1 minute 20 mark. So Premium Bow gonna move out here with 6 squirrels, trying to take this territory, maybe build some warrens near the front line, try to get out an arty cannon if possible, get that healing, get that territory boost. But red and yellow could hold this off, right? I mean, it's gonna be 2v1 here. Alexius is kind of going super macro. He's already saturating up that second base, so it's really Premium Bow versus the world at this point. But that's a nice choke that Premium Bow has for his advantage. Look at this. Premium Bow being very, very efficient with his units. That Gristmill taking some damage to this choke that red and yellow had to go through. Premium Bow actually took out both players there. Very impressive. And yeah, builds those proxy warrens so they're closer to the front line. And he can just spend his money without going home. Even builds another farm. So he's just going to keep this aggression up. And Alexius is going to come in here and throw down a turret. Throw down an arty cannon. If that arty cannon gets up, man, that's going to be crazy. Dude, Ultra Fresh in the chat, man. Dude, that game was amazing. Oh, my God. Not sure if you or Vlad submitted, but whoever did, thank you. Dude, what was the final count? Like 21 or 22 fox deaths? Something like that? That was crazy. I've never seen that before, and I've been casting for a long time. So, arty cannon up here for Alexius. And going to be... Oh, man. What? How does that work? That arty cannon looks further away, but it's going to be in decent range here. At least to take out that closer turret. Now actually getting fire on the opposing arty cannon. Oh, it is in range. I just don't think maybe he wasn't targeting that or something. I'm not so sure. You know, if one's in range of the other, then certainly both are in range, right? Nice defense here from Kepler, though. Going to push back green and blue for the time being. Break out of that contain. But green and blue are still in a good shape. I mean, Alexius has gone up to a very great economy and is skyrocketing it up in an army. And Premium Bow going to take some damage here, but holding down the fort actually doesn't lose a pig. That Gristmill taking a lot. These ferrets are here from Alexius. Starting to put the hurt on his opponent's units, but the falcons here for Hikumo and the chameleons are going to drive that back for the time being. Ferret going down. I like this play from Premium Bow, putting this artillery cannon in a bit of a more conservative spot. Maybe try to get that one up, you know, defend things, and maybe think about moving out. But nice push here from red and yellow is going to deny the space. But Premium is absolutely committed to this position. I love that he retook that like immediately, because Premium can't give up on this. You know, this wasn't like a cutesy contain. This was kind of an all-in play. You know, he's got real estate up here now, man. He's got wardens here. He's got this hardy cannon here. That's a big deal. He absolutely cannot back off of this. He's either got to make this work or die trying. Gonna go home and take some more safe farms. I think that's a good play. But Alexius is starting to move out as well. That Ferret using this commander to come up here, get some high ground vision. And red and yellow are still contained, man. They can't get an expansion. Premium Bo doesn't have an expansion. His economy's actually been a little bit weak compared to the other players because he's just kind of now getting to his last couple farms, right? Yeah, these mining for a little bit, but they got taken out. But really the big story here is Alexius Cairo, man. You know, this front aggression that Premium Bo put on, Alexius has been able to sit in the back, fully saturate up a second base. That is a huge deal. Skyrocketing up to a 16 farm economy until just now as a 5-minute mark hit, and he gets reduced down a little bit. But look at this, a third base on the way already. Red and yellow are in a rough spot, man. They're almost in this catch-22 situation where it's like, well, they need to expand, you know, 100%. Well, to expand, they got to break out of this. Well, they can't break out of this because Blue has been expanding like a madman. Now he's an absolute economic engine, and he's going to be able to just throw stuff at his opponents. And, you know, Alexius here doesn't need to even take cost-effective trades. He just needs to, you know, just trade. You know, if he loses 2 squirrels for 1 at this point, that's not terrible. His economy is so far ahead. You know, that squirrel or 2 for red and yellow, or that tier 2 unit for red and yellow, is so much of a bigger deal than it is for Alexius, right? Premium Bo starting to get out on the map as well. Just taking a couple campfires for now. I like this play out of Hikamu. It looks like he was, yeah, looking for a maybe a hidden base to try to take and get a second base flowing, but Premium Bo on top of that scouting, not going to let that happen. Premium just kind of eating up the real estate on this map to eliminate any kind of economic options for his opponents, more so than anything else. And red and yellow trying to move in here to push out, but again, like, I feel like this is such a cool 2v2 strategy, right? Like, Alexius just macroing up while Premium Bo was being hyper aggressive. And now red and yellow just, I mean, look at it, they're on 2 farms. And they're playing well, and they're doing what they can, but they just simply don't have the income anymore. Alexius is sitting back on 14 farms. I wouldn't even mind to see a wolf at this point. But 4 ferrets, man. I feel like ferrets scale really, really well, and we don't see it a lot, right? I mean, I play ferrets. I normally main ferrets, but you know, typically it's like 2 ferrets, maybe 4. But when you get to like 4 to 6 to 8 ferrets, it actually is pretty crazy, because most of ferrets' damage, if your opponent's microing, you kind of put into like a random probability kind of area, right? Because they're gonna miss a lot of shots, but the shots they land are a pretty big deal. And then, you know, you raise that up from two guys, you know, launching random, you know, probability shots, and then it becomes 4, it becomes 6. Obviously, your chances go way up, and you start getting some real damage done to your opponent's tier 1 lines. I mean, look at that. Ferret killed a squirrel there, and yeah, a lot of those shots didn't really hit, but more and more ferrets you get, man, more likelihood ferret shots will land. Pro wisdom here from Delthius on ToothAndTailTV. Hikamu gets knocked out. His teammate taps out with him. And Premium Bo and Alexius Cairo take the match. Really cool. We've been having some great submissions tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. I was looking at the old replay inbox. I've actually got a couple more replays coming in that are user submitted. So I'm not sure. Maybe we'll cut the semifinals of the Pocketbot and throw in a couple more user submitted or community submitted replays and just go into the finals. I'm not so sure at this point. But let's go into Bishi versus Chip, guys. And I'll decide what I'm gonna do after that. And all right, guys. All right, chat looks like they want the Pocketbot, man. So again, I was talking, you know, submit me some replays, guys. I do have to cancel the show. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stream on Thursday night. I gotta go play a gig in my band, but keep sending me replays, ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com, man. If I get enough, I might just do a show Friday night and make up for it. That'd be a lot of fun. But let's hop into this game, guys. Mishi versus Chip. Okay, to the top, we've got the one and only Chip from space. And his opponent down south, Mishi. Mishi and Chip, both phenomenal players, man, in the Tooth and Tail scene. If you're gonna make a list of like the top 5, top 10 best Tooth and Tail players, you know, even of all time, Chip and Mishi would certainly be on those lists. And Mishi trying to make the fox work here, squirrel lizard. Interesting. You most likely. It's kind of neat. Both players are running Squirrel Lizard here, and I believe the mindset for the most part was Squirrel Lizard. Oh, hang on. Mishi is up to no good here. Sold off his farm, and is going to go for a rush. Chip's going to scout it immediately as Mishi is going to place this. He's going for a 5-farm double opening here, and he's going to place the warrant as close to Chip as he possibly can to reduce that rush distance. But Chip, is one of the guys who's still kind of vigilant, man. Chip still goes for that 5-farm warrant opening. Which is a safe opening, right? Most players opt for a greedy opening, and look at this, Mishi gonna double back, sell those off, just mind game Chip, and go into an 8-farm opening. I love seeing stuff like this. It really shows you how nuanced the openings of Tooth and Tail can be, since you can sell these structures for 100% refund, right? So you can really get in your opponent's head, and this is such a short rush distance, you'd almost expect something like, a 5-farm double. But yeah, like Chip still goes for the 5-farm warrant opening, which is great. It's a really safe opening. Your opponent's not gonna catch you off guard with any mole rushes, with a heavy squirrel attack, with a contain, anything like that. But again, 8-farm opening is gonna beat the 5-farm opening, just on numbers, because like that safe versus greed versus aggro opening kind of triad I talk about a lot. But a player like Chip, it doesn't really matter. That little bit of extra food income you're gonna get for a split second, he's not super worried about. He's gonna get the same amount of money over time from that base. So that difference, from going from a safe 5-farm versus a greedy 8-farm opening, is gonna matter less and less as the game progresses. And that first base gets totally mined out, right? So Chip going for the Chameleon Rush, and meanwhile Mishi going for that Ferret Rush. Pretty interesting. I'd say if they hard engaged, it's gonna favor Chip a little bit, but Mishi obviously understands this, and that's not how you play with the Ferret. The Ferret really needs to get a lot of value from poking. So as you can see, Mishi's going to go ahead and set up that turret as a spot for this Ferret to kind of fall back to. This Ferret's going to kind of run out, try to get a free squirrel or two, gain aggro, and run back to this to the turret line, to the territory to get some healing. And look at this. Oh, just barely missed that squirrel shot. That Ferret goes down, though. That's a big deal. Great pickup there from Chip, and Chip's tier 2 is on the way. One's already out. And if Chip micros this Chameleon very effectively, he can make it soak a lot of damage on his opponent's squirrels. He can make it do a lot of damage to possibly the turret, or maybe even, just focusing down the opponent's units. But I'm really interested to see if he can keep these Chameleons alive. Chameleons can re-stealth if you kind of hold the button down and tell them to quit attacking, fairly quickly, to be honest. So I'd love to see Chip really show off that micro here, right? Like come in, really get some work done with the Chameleons, stealth them out at the last minute. Nice harassment coming down here from Mishi, though. He's actually tagged several tier 1 kills at this point. Really going to make up for losing that Ferret early on. A couple more tier 1 going down there, I believe. But here we go. Chip going in for the hard engagement on top of this turret. He doesn't really baby the first Chameleon, but I expect he will baby the second. But the Chameleons are able to push through the front lines. The Ferret goes down for Mishi. I believe the other one got away. But 4 Ferrets total on the way for Mishi, which is really cool to see. And yeah, sells that off. I agree with that, to be honest. Oh, wait. I was going to say that was too greedy trying to go for that play, but Mishi turning up the greed, man. And going for that Fox, I like it a lot. I feel like he's on the back foot a little bit from that engagement. I mean, Chip suffered losses, so it wasn't like a super, super big win. As you can see from the army graph, they went relatively even. But Chip's got a little bit of a lead, so Mishi is like, you know what, I was trying to get out these Ferrets, but I feel like with a little bit of Ferret micro, maybe with a couple turrets or two, I can dissuade Chip from attacking, but Chip's commander goes down. These are just going to be free pickings now here for the army of Mishi. Mishi, don't lose these Ferrets! Oh, so close. That would be a biased caster, but it would be embarrassing losing your Ferrets to an unmicroed army. So Chip coming in here. One Chameleon goes down pretty quickly. The second Chameleon follows suit rather fast as well. And it looks like a nice hold here for Mishi. I think he lost a Warren But he keeps his ferrets alive and trades fairly evenly with the tier 1 and takes out the chameleons from Chip, so that puts him in a great spot. But the real story here, we just hit the 5-minute mark, and Chip's got the second base with a few farms already mining. And Mishi doesn't have any second base prospects yet. Like, this map is actually fairly good for Mishi. It's going to be easier for him to expand to bases number 3 and 4 than it is going to be for Chip. But Mishi hasn't dedicated to a second base yet. I think he really wants to go for an all-in style aggression when he gets to Fox. And it's not going to be like traditional all-in play where he just forces one big fight. It's going to be like, you know, death by 1,000 paper cuts, man. He's going to use the ferrets and foxes to harass his opponent over time and just end up getting so much value out of it, especially with these turrets as well. But Chip's going to come in here for another big engagement, losing the chameleons, but he's got enough to kill off the turrets. But the fox is now out, that ferret living at 1 HP. Chip coming in here, though. He's going to seal the deal on those ferrets, gets those kills. Well micro there from Chip. I thought for sure those squirrels were just going to go down and not get any more value, but man, that was actually on the back end of that was pretty good for Chip. But now this tier 3 is out for Mishi, and Chip has no tier 3 in his near future, but he does have the better economy, and chameleons and lizards can kind of deal with the fox. I feel like he needs a turret, but money's tight, man. It's easier said than done, especially with Mishi just poking away at these tier 1, man. 20 food here, 20 food there. And this fox getting a ton of work done here for Mishi, but the chameleon trap, if Mishi's not careful, might actually work here. He's got 3 chameleons. One goes down. Oh, the fox at 5 HP. Keeps those 2 chameleons alive. Oh, it's so close. 1 chameleon dies there. 3 HP on this fox. Oh, the chameleon coming in. Re-stealths it. Now Mishi's starving, though, man. He has to expand at this point. So he sells off a Warren. Gonna come back here and take the safer expansion option. I like that. He could have taken this forward expansion, but that would have given Chip a lot of options to get in there and harass, you know. It's really, this is 9 times out of 10, this is the better base. I know you want to be aggressive and take more of the map and things of that nature, but, you know, engagements can swing, man. If it swings in Chip's favor, he wins the engagement, and then on the back of the engagement, he kills a pig or 2. That's how he eventually wins the game over time. And look at this from Chip, man. Now he's got to deal with this fox harassment. Mishi did come up top, pick off a couple kills there, but this chameleon attack from Chip, you know, got a couple Warrens, gets the gristmill. Chip really showing how you can actually, you know, micro units in different spots of the map at the same time. That was really impressive play. But Mishi is now starting to stabilize. He's only got 3 squirrels without a Warren, and the fox goes down. Oh no, I missed that. Chip. Oh my god. I feel so bad. I wasn't zoomed in for that, you guys. I didn't think it was going to happen. Chip, like, spider sense, man. Or maybe he was playing really close attention to his mini-map and just kind of realized the fox was right there. You know, stopped holding the button on his chameleons, and they popped out and got that fox kill, while his commander was nowhere near it. And Mishi knew that fox death means the end of the game for him, so he taps out. What a crazy match, man. That was such a good play. Definitely props to both players, man. That was fantastic. Mishi cooking dinner, watching TnTTV, man. Sounds like a good stream. I've been cooking a lot lately, man. I've been trying to get in better shape. I've been exercising the last couple weeks. Trying to cut out bread and sugar, man. Those are the big 2. If you can cut out bread and sugar, you're good. Like, that's really, that's the pro health tip advice from old Delthius here. But let me take a look here. Okay, we're at 9 o'clock. We're doing pretty good on time. I've got a few submissions coming to my inbox. But I think what I'm going to do is, most likely, guys, keep sending me replays at ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com. I won't do a show on Thursday, but I might do a show on Friday night to make up for it. I don't have any plans right now. If I do get plans and have to go socialize, I might do that. But right now, I'm going to say I'll probably do a show Friday night. I think that'd be fun. So you should replay that sick chameleon trap. It was very subtle. Actually, I kind of agree with that, to be honest. Like, that was pretty insane. How long is this gonna take? I don't think it's gonna take very long at all. Like, I do want to highlight that play. I felt really bad that I wasn't on top of it when it happened. And Mishi's like, well, there's a way you could rectify that, Delthius. You could just show it off again. We're almost there, guys. We're 2 minutes in, up to maybe like a 7 or 8 minute game, just on ×5 here. Only after 23 foxes it is okay to quit. Dude, was it 23? That's gotta be a record, man. 23 fox deaths, at least in a casted Tooth and Tail game. That was insane, man. Hey, thanks for the follow, Jacob Up. I appreciate it, man. Hey, there's the alert. I don't know why the alert... I need to look into the alerts. They work when I test them. I don't know. I'm a terrible streamer, you guys. I apologize. I do what I can. Okay. Okay, we're getting close. We're getting close. Okay. So some nice fox play. I feel like I could stop it here. Like, this was actually some really cool late game engagements here. So this is kind of this dance between Mishi and these chameleons, you know, where it's like, I kind of want Chip to trigger the chameleons to unstealth so I get those shots off, you know, start picking them off. And Chip obviously looking for that perfect ambush situation where he can unstealth and, you know, trigger that attack as fast as possible. So where's Chip's commander? That's the key thing to look at here that makes this so impressive. So Chip's commander is coming down here, looks at that second base for Mishi, and he's just going to tell the chameleons to just start attacking. And meanwhile, he's going to come up here and start trying to push back Mishi, get him at least away from the farm line. Chip would rather trade squirrels, you know, than let Mishi get too close to the base. So the base goes down, so Chip is going to tell the chameleons to come up this way, right? He's going to move them forward, and now he's just going to run back his commander, and now he's going to give him a move command. Oh, no, it is an attack move. Okay. I thought, okay, no, that's still really impressive, but I thought he, like, looked at the mini-map and realized there's a fox super close, but that was still fantastic. Like, the chameleon, you know, attack, you know, swung up, and then you just gave him this, like, attack move on the back end, and Mishi was none the wiser, just kind of runs the fox over there and gets wrecked upon, so... What's the phone saying? I got a game with 50 fox kills. Want to make history for me tonight? It doesn't count if it's staged. Gah. They gotta be legit fox kills. I should start looking through the replay code. I wonder if there's a way if I can tell if, like, I write like a little script or something and tell if it was in ranked mode or not. I gotta take a closer look. I'm going to take a really quick break, man, maybe a couple minutes. I got to use the restroom and that sort of thing. But I'll be right back, and then we'll hop into the semifinals and finals of last night's Pocketbot tournament. So don't go anywhere, guys. Maybe 3-4 minutes, and we'll get back, and we'll hop into some more games. So see you soon. What's up, guys? I am back. Sorry about the break. Is chat saying... Is chat saying there are, these Pocketbot games are already casted, or... Didn't Blackmore cast those as he was playing them? Oh, okay. Okay. We'll cast them, guys. We'll get into them. I just want to make sure somebody didn't already cast these or something. They should be this week's. I do have dummy games in here to not give away the results, but I just got them from Mass of Stealth, so... Blackmore was streaming them from last night. Okay. I mean, do we still want to see them? I think it's still good content. I think we go into them. Okay, let's take a look, guys. We'll hop into the Pocketbot semifinals of last night, game number 1 here. Roll the footage, he says. Okay, cool. So spotting on the right, we've got Microphone. Into the bottom left, his opponent, Pile. Pile actually with a somewhat normal deck here. That's kind of interesting to see, man. Pile's pretty well known for his crazy lizard and defensive structure shenanigans, but coming up with some pretty normal stuff here this time. 2 tier 1, 2 tier 2, tier 3, and a defensive structure. Kind of same layout from Microphone, just kind of different units. I do like the Squirrel Toad pick from Microphone. I mean, Pile's pretty well known for his lizards, so teching in those toads is a good play, but Pile might have mind gamed him there, where he was like, well, I know I'm well known for my lizards, so I'm not going to run lizards this time, right? I'm going to play something completely different, and this kind of deck from either player really gives them a lot of options here. Both players just opting to go straight up to that 8-farm economy in the early game, get some scouting out on the map. No moles or anything like that, so we shouldn't see any aggression anytime soon. So we'll have to see what these players decide to do. Again, there's a lot of options here. Seeing 2 tier 1 Warrens getting dropped is pretty standard. Pile probably saving his money to go back and either drop both tier 1 at once. No, Pile actually... looks like, yeah, Pile would for sure hit his food timings precisely, so I believe he's going to go for a fast fox play here. And this is an incredibly... Oh, no, actually, tier 2 Warren and a tier 1 Warren at the same time. Okay, that makes sense. He just tried to stay out on the map a little longer. He's like, well, I don't really need to build the squirrel right as I accumulate 60 food, right, because I'm not really going to move out for a little bit anyways. Doesn't look like Microphone's going to move out anytime soon either. So I can get a bit more scouting information before I burrow back and place down some Warrens, right? And this campfire actually getting taken by Microphone here. Pile hasn't scouted it yet, so that could actually be a pretty big deal. Pile opening up with the Falcons versus the Skunks from Microphone, and I feel like the Skunks might... It's hard to say who wins this engagement. I haven't seen a whole lot of it. Skunks are obviously incredible against squirrels here. And Pile is going up to 3 tier 1 Warrens, so 9 squirrels is pretty significant. That's going to be a decent counter by those Skunks, but we'll just have to see which tier 2 unit can eliminate more of their opponent's squirrels faster, right? And this defensive position for Microphone looks pretty good here. Pile taking this aggressive gristmill to get a little bit more territory, moving out here with some units, actually takes that commander down. It's going to give Pile an opportunity to come in here and attack and basically get that turret for free. He even gets a lot of kills on these squirrels of his opponent. Fantastic engagement there for Pile. And now he's coming in and, ooh, nice micro there from Pile, keeping that back Falcon alive. And Falcon getting healed up by that pigeon. And he's going to come out of that in great shape. I think he knocked out a skunk there, right? So now he's going to set up a bit of this contain on the front while getting his economy in a good shape here. So yeah, this always feels worse. Like, Microphone was playing this great, but he just lost that commander. I've lost so many games because of that, man. It's definitely a brutal feeling, for sure. But I'm not so sure. Pile's really one of those players, you know, once you're really, really high up there in the skill, like, you could just really identify when you have the upper hand and keep that tempo going, keep that aggression going, as you see Pile doing here. And he's just kind of taking that advantage he got off that first big engagement and snowballing it. So what looks like is most likely going to be a victory here for Pyle, but let's see if Microphone can muster up some defense here, stay alive, and get back in this game. Really, it was those two big things. It was that big first engagement where Microphone's commander, unfortunately for him, died. Pyle was able to get in there, kill that turret for free, kill a lot of squirrels. And then that follow-up engagement where Pyle took out a skunk but didn't lose a falcon. And just kind of just adding up over time, Pyle takes the game. All right, let's hop into semifinals of the Pocketbot tournament. Game number 2 here. Spawning in the bottom, we've got Microphone. And his opponent to the right, Pyle. Pyle looks like both players actually look like they're running the same decks here, so they're okay with their strategies at this point. They think that's gonna work, and you know, I don't blame Microphone for that. Like, he was actually going toe-to-toe with Pyle. You could even argue Microphone was ahead of Pyle because of that campfire in that first game. But losing his commander, man, just being a little too greedy, trying to scout in, really lost him the entire game, to be brutally honest. And Microphone opening up with a 5-farm Warren, that's like on my top 3 list of like things that frustrate me the most on Tooth and Tail, man. Like losing your commander in a big fight and then just losing the game because of it. It can happen very quickly, man. You can kind of get used to if you've been playing a lot of longer games, like how tanky your commander is in later on. Because commander, yeah, as you can see there, they gain HP over time. So if you kind of get that feeling in your head where, okay, my commander can kind of take this much damage, you know, for playing in some late games, and then you're in the early game, right, and the commander goes down a lot faster. And a player like Pyle is really gonna jump on top of that, as you saw him. And let's see, both players opening up pretty standard here. Microphone actually building a forward turret. I wonder if he's a little bit scared or if he's maybe planning to drop a tier 3 or something like that. Pyle's got an easy campfire, which he's certainly gonna take advantage of. And overall, this map is pretty wide open and small, to be perfectly honest. Like, Pyle, this second base position for Pyle, if he could secure that, he'd basically win the game. So really, Pyle in a more stabilized match where it's really close, he would have to be forced to, you know, he'd be forced to come up here and expand up top, take that as his second and third. And meanwhile, Microphone's got a pretty obvious second and third here, and even a fourth base. So Microphone could hang on. Like, technically, both players have access to a fourth base, but again, I think Pyle's fourth base, being this one, is a little too close to Microphone, right? And he wouldn't really be able to secure that without just absolutely dominating in the matchup anyways, and then it's just kind of like a win more play. But Pyle's opening up, you know, with this pretty bread and butter push. I think this is pretty standard if you're just kind of getting into multiplayer and not sure how to open up, you know, 2 tier 1 into a tier 2 into 2 more tier 1. So you go 8 farms, squirrel, you know, whatever tier 2 you want, and then squirrel pigeon. And then by the time it all gets together, you know, you'll have 9 squirrels, 3 pigeons, and a couple falcons, or whatever your tier 2 is. And that's a nice little force to kind of push out on the map, maybe secure a second base or try to pressure your opponent. And Pyle is actually going for the throat this game, going ahead and taking this second base. I was talking about this very contestable, because now if Microphone, oh, actually he backs it up. Interesting. I wonder if he's going to go for the fox. Yeah, sure enough, he drops that down, and now he's probably going to take this gristmill. Or, yeah, there he goes. And, you know, because if Pyle can control this high ground, he's just going to win the game. Like, Microphone really can't give this position up. But Microphone's tier 2 is not yet here. He's got a couple turrets, but they're not going to help in this engagement. And, you know, Pyle should win this fairly well on the back of the Falcons. I believe one Falcon actually did die there. So Microphone getting a decent trade, to be perfectly honest. You know, I think he traded like 5 or 6 squirrels for like 3 or 4 squirrels and a Falcon. So not the worst thing in the world for Microphone, but he doesn't have a second base yet, and Pyle's already getting his economy going. And again, these turrets for Microphone just really not helping out at the moment. And Pyle really reinforcing this high ground position he's got here. Oh, interesting play out of Microphone, man. He's going to try to swing around this. Maybe hit Pyle in that exposed soft underbelly. But no, he's just going to try to get a better angle to come in here and take this engagement. He really needs to target down these Falcons, but the turret is eventually going to fall down, and he's actually got enough here to clean up the forces from Pyle. He even takes the kills on the Falcons. What a fantastic engagement there for Microphone. That's exactly what he needed to get back into this game. And now Pyle's going to be pushed back. He's going to lose the money that he put into this this gristmill up here, 120 food. Man, what a great engagement for Microphone. I was worried there. Like, that was such a good swing around because, like, concave and convex is a really important concept in RTS. You know, he got some good surface area. He allowed his squirrels to all kind of find their own tile instead of trying to force his way up here, you know, where he doesn't have a lot of room. Instead, swinging around, letting those squirrels spread out a little bit. But let's see it. He's going to try to follow this up and finish Pyle off. He's going to push Pyle back for the time being. And I feel like he's in really good shape. He's got the superior squirrel number. Yeah, Pyle's got a couple tier 2, but not the biggest deal in the world. Like, but Microphone really needs to target down that Falcon. That Falcon's going to put out such a big, you know, amount of DPS. And Pyle with the defender's advantage. I mean, look how much HP those Warrens tanked there. I mean, that was just a little bit too aggressive there from Microphone, especially in the back of that expansion up top, man. Poor Microphone. Like, I feel like he got really close both of these games. You know, the first game, he was kind of toe-to-toe until he lost that commander. And the second game, man, he was in such a phenomenal position until he ran into Pyle's base there. And Pyle's defender's advantage and that Falcon that just, you know, went untargeted and was able to do a lot of damage was enough for Pyle to hold. And now I feel like Pyle is in a dominating position now. Keep in mind, Microphone does have this additional base going with 3 farms on it. That is a big deal, especially since we're almost 6 minutes in and those main base farms are starting to mine out. But Pyle's got the better force here. Microphone was trying to take a hard engagement, but he's simply not going to have enough. That's exactly what Pyle wanted. He had the terrain advantage there. He had the numbers advantage there. And he takes the game. Does that mean Pyle advances to the finals? I feel like Microphone did phenomenal in both games, to be honest. Like, you know, game 1, again, I feel like a broken record, but game 1, man, he was on par with Pyle. He even had that campfire, you know, so he was kind of ahead of Pyle in a way, but he lost his commander, and Pyle just totally took advantage of that, as he should, as a top level player, high level player does. And you know, game number 2, Microphone had such a great, you know, clever engagement on Pyle that really tipped the scales and let him back into it. But unfortunately got a little bit greedy there. You know, went for the hard engage into the defender's advantage, and from there that gave Pyle enough value to take it, you know, from there and take the game. So let's hop into game number 5 here. Or I'm sorry, let's hop into the finals, game number 1. And let's see who Pyle's opponent is. I think the chat already knows. It's of course going to be Blackmore Crest, as he streamed some of his tournament footage from last night. So spawning on the left, we've got Blackmore Crest, and his opponent to the right, Pyle, in this best of 5 of the finals of the Pocketbot tournament that happened last night, guys. And it looks like Blackmore Crest going old school, man. Like, this was like the build before the balance patch that happened a week or 2 ago. You know, that early skunk push and that kind of form of the push I was describing last game, right? Where you go 2 tier 1, skunk, you know, I'm sorry, double squirrel, skunk, squirrel, pigeon. Then you move out with like 12 squirrels, 2 skunks, 3 pigeons. That's a very powerful push, and it really hard counters 2 of your 3 I guess you could say 3 of your opponent's opening options, right? Like option number 1, if they went straight up squirrel aggression, it counters that. It counters if your opponent went for a fast tier 3, perhaps, if they went too greedy. And it also counters if your opponent tried to fast expand and not build enough units. But where that build can fall short is that most of the other tier 2 units in the game fare pretty well against the skunk. So, you know, if Pyle and Blackmore both went for that like fast tier 2 build with some good micro, Pyle could come out on top of the chameleons, but it wouldn't be that cut and dry. It'd really come down to the engagement, the positioning, the terrain, the micro, the concave, the convex. And here we see Pile going for a faster variant on the build I was just describing, the double squirrel tier 2 squirrel pigeon. Instead he goes 1 squirrel tier 2 and then probably 3 squirrels and a pigeon when he's ready to move out, or maybe just even 9 squirrels, 9 to 12 squirrels, somewhere in there. We'll have to see what he decides. And Blackmore saving up, actually went pretty hard on the tier 1 before teching up, so I'm interested to see if he's gonna throw down tier 1 Warrens 4 and 5 here, or if he's gonna tech up to tier 2. And sure enough, he goes for that skunk play. So kind of interesting. Both players going for a bit of a variant here. Pile's build was a bit greedier, allowed him to get to tier 2 earlier, where meanwhile Blackmore's build was a bit safer and allowed him to get a few more tier 1 units before that. But this is kind of a build order Frog played a lot back in the day. You'd use chameleons for it specifically, but another variant on the tier 2 opening I'm describing, but where you actually go into double tier 2. And yeah, he would do it with chameleons, get like 4 chameleons when chameleons were really strong, and players would often not expect it, including myself. But Pile, going for a relatively quick Fox Warren. It's already been out on the board for about 20 seconds, so he placed that around 2 minutes 30 seconds into the game, after kind of opening up with some basic tier 1, tier 2. Blackmore sensed the attack coming on, built some turrets. Pile's not going to be able to push into this, so he's going to have to back up for now. But Pile's perfectly happy with this because he's got the tier 3 on the way. Most likely going to take the expansion. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Pile hold on to this money. That way when the expansion gets done, he can throw down several farms at once. And of course, what he was really holding that money for was to finance the Fox. Sorry, the Fox just kind of slipped my mind for a second, but that is very, very important to kind of get the feel for saving up just the right amount of money. You don't want to float money, right? Because that's money that could have been spent elsewhere. Swifty with the bit cheer, man. Thanks a lot, man. Good to see you. How's it going, buddy? But I lost my train of thought for a second. So, yeah, Pile, going up on the expansion here. Valeris with the cheer. Appreciate it, man. See, that notice was really, really loud. Like, my raid notice seems like it's delayed, and the cheer notice seems like it's been too high. I gotta mess around my alerts a little bit, guys. I apologize. Commander might actually fall here. No, stays alive. Ooh, no. Oh, yeah, it goes down. Fox comes out, though. Now, my question is Blackmore is aware of the Fox, or aware of the tier 3. He's actually not, and I'm not so sure if his commander saw that Fox on the march on its way to its doom. But man, what a great spot for a Fox here for Pile. As a Fox player, I am just super jealous. Like, oh man, this is such an abusable cliff. Really prevents Blackmore from even thinking about building farms, on this last 3 lines. That's actually really smart play from Blackmore. Kind of understanding the fact, okay, until I can really claim this high ground, this is absolutely unsafe to take farms there. So only going up to 6 for now, or I'm sorry, 5, but Pile is shooting straight up to that 8 farm economy on a second base, so that's going to be a big deal. We just hit the 5-minute mark, so 4 farms just mined out. The other 4 on the main base are going to be on their way out here shortly. And look at this, like, Pile's main goal at this point is to just kind of control this area. Like, really, whoever controls this high ground. Well, I don't want to say that. Like, Blackmore needs to control this high ground to stay alive. Meanwhile, Pile, if he controls this high ground, he just wins the game. And great move out of Blackmore Crest here, trying to take a third base down south. But Pile is Pile's really an interesting player because somehow he manages to just be so aggressive, but really macroing at the same time. It's very impressive, to be honest. Like, he's controlling this really, really critical high ground where if the game just keeps going Pile's way, it's eventually going to lead him to a victory. And he's ahead on the third base, and Blackmore knows that Pile's greedy. Let's see if he got this scout out. He actually hasn't, but he's going to try to stay ahead on that third base, and he's kind of has to make up a little bit on this third base for not being able to saturate fully on the second base until he reclaims his high ground. But Pile's Fox is coming in now. Gonna get some fantastic shots. 2 pigs and a pigeon going down. He'd love to get a falcon or 2 here. Ends up getting several tier 1. I think that's 5 tier 1, 6 tier 1, and a couple pigs. And those pigs are at that point where it's not really worth it for Blackmore Crest to rebuild them anymore. And this Fox harassment here from Pyle has been very, very well played. He backs out for now off Blackmore, getting that turret down to kind of ward the Fox out for the time being. And Blackmore really needs to focus on this third base, really needs to try to muscle up, maybe get some more forward turrets on this high ground, and try to get up to that Badger eventually, but that's going to be a lot easier said than done here. You know, Pyle's got him on the ropes. You know, Pyle is really, again, known for his aggression, known for understanding how to take advantage of tempo and momentum. And he's not going to let up, man. He's not going to give Blackmore Crest enough breathing room to just get up to his own Badger. Taking a couple of hits there from the turret. Pyle definitely needs to be careful, but he's got the pigeons on the back lines there to heal him back up to full, no problem. And he notices Blackmore Crest's army isn't quite there to defend that turret and comes in and just knocks it out. Starts an engagement, getting a couple warrants, but this standing army of Blackmore is actually pretty impressive. A lot of Falcons here cleaning up the main army of Pyle, but it's basically going to end up to the point where scraps are left. Pyle actually keeps those chameleons alive, restilts them, as I was kind of talking about in that chip game. And Falcons are really brutal against Foxes, man. Fox will one-shot those Falcons, and that's a real expensive unit, man. 60 bucks per Falcon, right? So the shots off on the Fox are really critical there. And just coming in and getting more and more harassment done here is Pyle. And Blackboard's going to try to push him back with a couple turrets, but the turrets might just be a little too late. It looks like Pyle realizes he's probably got enough to come in here and do a direct engagement at this point from whittling down with the Fox over time. And that's going to be it. Blackmore taps out. We're going to go into match number 2 here. All right. Game number 2, guys, of the Pocketbot Tournament Finals from last night. Let's hop into it. Okay, spawning on the left, down 1 match, we've got Blackmore Crest. And his opponent in the bottom right, the one and only Pyle. Again, players keeping these decks here, man. Pyle seems really confident with this deck, and I like it a lot, man. I haven't really played with chameleons in a little while. I might have to try this out. I'm always a sucker for new Fox decks, man. Lately, I've been running Squirrel, Pigeon, Ferret, Fox, Turret, Balloon, mainly to have a variety in my deck. You know, as far as what builds I can take. You know, I can go for that tier 2 aggression. I can take a fast Fox, or if I scout my opponent going for a fast tier 3, I can try to contain and set up balloons to try to counter that. But a little bit more traditional setups here. I'd like to see Blackmore Crest get out of Badger and try to get something done with it, but I don't know. I feel like the high level consensus on the Badger is that nerf hurt it pretty hard, right? So I'm not so sure, but I'd like to see more of the Badger. I haven't seen it in a ton of replays since it no longer can target the opponent's commander and keep that windup going. But so far, nothing crazy, man. Both players just opting for that 8 farm double tier 1 opening. Blackmore actually might go straight into a tier 2. No, it goes for a double tier 1, just a little bit delayed. And Pyle actually changes his mind and goes for that tier 1, tier 2 opening, as we saw last game. Pretty similar stuff here. Although I believe last game he started with Falcons. I could be wrong, though. Don't quote me on that. My memory is terrible. So yeah, I mean, we're gearing up where both players are going to try to go for some early to mid game kind of poke and prod. Not necessarily an all in. They're probably going to gear up to try to take a second base. Map looks pretty favored for Pyle here. Blackmore really has access to the second base, and that's basically it. Actually, you know what? He can get in here and take this base as well. Has a little bit of a pocket, but it's not really a pocket, as Pyle can simply march over here and abuse this high ground. But Pyle's moving out for an attack. He's got 1 chameleon here. He's got a handful of squirrels. So Blackmore, that skunk for Blackmore Crest is almost up, though. That skunk's going to be all he needs to fend this off, I feel like, with defender's advantage. That skunk should absolutely melt through Pyle's squirrels, so Pyle's going to back out for now. But yeah, that's what I like. I really like this kind of opening in general, because it's just kind of safe, right? Like, you can punish your opponent if they're being too greedy, and you don't have to commit. Like, it's not an all-in opening. You can just expand on the back of it. But Blackmore wants to commit, and he's moving in. Maybe he felt like Pyle, you know, he sensed a bit of weakness or something, but these chameleons plus the defender's advantage are gonna, you know, push this back. Blackmore losing a few squirrels, but picks up a pig, so really not the worst engagement in the world there for him. It moves back, and it looks like Pyle actually sold off a squirrel warren to be a bit more greedy on the tier 2 here, as well as finance that second base, so Blackmore's kind of got this well-rounded army. He's also got the campfire to boot. Now he's going into that second base. And Pyle's got this army that's not super powerful right now, but once these falcons get out, once Pyle, you know, reinforces this with a better squirrel line, it's definitely going to be deadly. So overall, I feel like Blackmore Crest is in good shape this game. His second base is a bit behind Pyle, but he's going to realize that. He's going to see Pyle went up to a few farms on that expansion. He's going to be able to respond by knowing it's safe for him to take a couple of farms himself. Now, Pyle is going to get up to that higher falcon count here, and let's see how much of a difference that makes. He was kind of flirting with the idea of moving in here and trying to harass these chameleons. Oh, actually going to kill that turret with those chameleons. Lucky little pickup there for Pyle, an extra 60 food for free. And yeah, Blackmore is going to try to match the farms of his opponent, but Pyle's throwing down farm number 4, and man, 4 falcons is pretty good, but only 3 squirrels here, and actually that makes perfect sense against skunks, right? Like, Pyle just simply teched out of that tier 1 because he knows the skunks are so good against it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, man. You know what skunks are not good against? Falcons and chameleons. And chameleons will, you know, tank on the front ground to deal with the squirrels from Blackmore Crest. Meanwhile, the falcons will deal the damage from the back. So that's kind of the thought process here for Pyle. And I'm wondering if either player is going to move in here, take that hard engagement, or if they're just going to kind of tech up to bigger and badder armies, maybe get a tier 3. Pyle's selling off that turret he no longer really needs, as he's kind of trying to adjust the front line to be more geared towards the second base. I mean, that's the juicier base. So if Blackmore Crest was going to come in here and try to harass, that he'd most likely go after. So Pyle actually selling off all his squirrels now, instead opting to go up to 10 falcons. That's absolutely insane. Blackmore actually has more falcons at this point, though. Not a lot of target fire going on at this point, but Pyle's able to come in here and roll over his opponent for the moment. He has several of his falcons living, and even takes up a couple kills on those pigeons on the back end of that engagement. So nice try from Blackmore Crest there, but Pyle takes that engagement pretty handily. And yeah, I mean, the fact that he kept, what, 4 or 5 of these falcons alive, like, that is huge, man. Blackmore just lost some skunks, lost his falcons, so Pyle's in great shape at this point. We're about to approach the 6-minute mark in this game here. Blackmore Crest trying to get it here, confirm or deny whether or not Pyle has a tier 3. Doesn't see one. He's gonna back out for now. Yeah, that's what's rough, man. I talk about when we get into these stalemates. Like, Blackmore Crest didn't really have to attack there. And now, unfortunately, Pyle's got a huge advantage since he decided to. And that's why sometimes you see these games get into a little bit of a stalemate for a couple minutes. Because both players are like, I mean, if I attack in, it could be pretty bad. But, you know, Pyle is really a player who understands tempo. And he understood, okay, I just took a great engagement there. I took out several tier 2. I didn't lose a whole lot. Comes in for a follow-up push after reinforcing his army and takes the game. That was real close from Blackmore, man. I feel like if you would have teched out of the skunks and wouldn't have pushed in at that specific time, man, you could have had it. But Pyle is arguably the best player in Tooth and Tail. I mean, I don't know. Top 5 is, if I had to name a top 5 in no particular order, it'd probably be something like Pyle, the Gentleman, Swifty, Chip, maybe Jed Erickson. Like, he plays on a different time zone than I do, so I don't run into him super often. But I know he's a beast. I thought Delthius is the best player, says What's a Phone. Oh, I love you, man. Alright, game number 3, guys. Blackmore Crest is down 2 games here. And really needs a victory here. So spawning up top, we've got Blackmore Crest. And his opponent to the right, Pile. Pile changing up his tier 3 this time, opting for the Owls. But other than that, both players keeping their same decks. This is what they're comfortable with. This is what they know. They're in the finals of the tournament, right? So definitely want to play what they know. And that's what it is real rough sometimes, man. Like, I always really respected the Gentleman because at high, I mean, I'm not like one of the best TnT players, but I'm pretty good. So I'm normally pretty high on the ladder, right? Like 800 to 1,000 points or whatever. And so I end up running into. I was kind of joking with my buddy earlier. I was like, I just want to get on, relax, right? Play a game, and then I get on. I always queue up into guys like the Gentleman, and when I run into the Gentleman, man, I'm always really impressed by how many different decks he has. It's really hard to do because, when you're playing a best of 5, best of 3, best of 7, something like that, if you have multiple strategies that are really kind of polished and successful that you can pull out, man, it's really mess up your opponent. Now, even within the same deck, though, there's a lot of different builds, right? I try to stress that. There's a big difference between a deck and a build. So the build is the order that you place units down. Look at this Pile actually going for a tier 2 first. No, changes his mind. He's a little bit indecision here. Ends up going for tier 1, tier 2, kind of at the same time. Gonna get immediately scattered out by Blackmore Crest, but you know what I mean? Like, you can open 2 tier 1 safe, but look at this. Blackmore opened 2 tier 1 safe. He's gonna call Pile out on his greed here. They're gonna move in, try to contain. He's got turrets here. He's got a couple squirrels. If you get nice sell from Pile. Doesn't lose that turret. If that pig goes down, that's a pretty big deal. 2 squirrels falling for Blackmore already. Gonna have to back out for now. Saves that last squirrel. It's pretty good. Gonna deny that turret being placed up by Pile, but that 3rd squirrel goes down, and now Pile's got 2v1 on the squirrels for a minute. It's gonna give him that edge he needed to try to stabilize here. This was really gotta work for Blackmore Crest, but Pile, on the back end of this, when all the chaos was going on, man, sold off that tier 2 warrant and just built more and more tier 1. So he just got an insane rally, and look at this, just totally denies the contain attempt from Blackmore. I really like this a lot. It kind of goes on to what I was kind of rambling on about in the early game before anything started happening. Like, Blackmore didn't necessarily change up his deck, but he changed up his build, right? It's like, maybe I can catch Pile off guard by going for this contain approach, and it almost worked for him, man. But Pile, with an excellent defense, holds it off. And look at this, man. Pile's going to sell off Squirrel Warren and go into 2 tier 2 Warrens. And kind of chill for a minute or so. Let those tier 2 build. And then he's going to push out with a very aggressive push. It's going to be pretty rough for Blackmore. Blackmore really needs to get a turret or 2 up. But instead, he's going to move out. He's got a few squirrels on Pile at the moment. He's going to take this engagement. Let's see. So far, it's looking pretty good for Blackmore. Pile put a lot of his money into those tier 2, and meanwhile, Blackmore just went harder and harder on those squirrels. Needs to keep his commander alive, only at 2 HP. The Falcon gets out. The Chameleon gets out. Pile holds off the attack after losing a pig, and this is going to put Pile in a great spot, man. These tier 2 are alive and well for Pile. He doesn't. I was going to say maybe he waits for his other tier 2, but he doesn't. It looks like he's not going to do that. He's just going to move out immediately. Blackmore going to try to expand on the back of that hope. Pile gives him a little bit of time to stabilize, but Pile's a really good player, again, as I've been saying, man, and he knows tempo and momentum. Tempo and momentum is so important in RTS games, man, and Pile knows he's ahead, and he's not going to give Blackmore the time to get up a second base to try to stabilize. He's going to use the advantage he has right here, right now, because that advantage lowers over time, especially if your opponent gets a second base, gets a good economy up. So Pile realizes, okay, I've got the advantage, man. I'm gonna move in right here, right now, really, really utilize that. And that's gonna be too much damage there for Blackmore Crest. And Pile is gonna take the match. Some good games, man. Well played by Microphone and Blackmore Crest going up against Pile, man. I think they did a great job. I think a lot of those games are pretty close. Blackmore Crest and Microphone, man, could have maybe taken a match, man. But it was definitely close, man. So well played, you guys. And you know what? I think that's gonna be it for tonight, man. We made it through 12. I think we had a pretty good stream. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Pretty good viewership tonight, man, so I really do appreciate that, guys. I know we've had a lot of new guys coming into the scene, so thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. But I think I am going to wrap it up. Unfortunately, again, I cannot do a show on Thursday night. I got to play a show for my bands. But I might try to do something on Friday. So nobody's really streaming Tooth and Tail at the moment, so let's give the host over to my wife, man. She's playing a pretty cool indie game called Kingdom New Lands. Dude, she's been obsessing. She said she was up till 5 in the morning last night playing it, so looks really cool. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Swifty, Ghost FTW, What's a Phone in the chat, man. Always rock solid to see everybody. And I'll try to do a Friday night show, man. I don't have any plans yet, so if nothing comes up, we'll do a stream on Friday night and make up for me not being here on Thursday. So take care, everybody. You're all a bunch of beautiful nerds, and I will see y'all on Friday night.